Hey guys, and welcome to your second Hammer tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to talk about grid, scaling, rotating and some other useful stuff. So I've loaded up my old tutorial 1 file as I showed you last time. First I want to talk about the grid. As you can see here we have 3 grid windows, and each block will be 64 units. We can obviously change this because 64 units means this one block has 64 smaller units. We can change this by clicking on the smaller grid or larger grid button. By clicking this, as you can see, the grid will then get smaller with smaller units you can use. Now I can use 32 small units, and now I can use 16 and so on, moving to 1 unit. Hammer uses these units to compile your map, so we need to make sure that we're not using too much of the smaller units to play things together, like making walls 1 unit big. As you can see here, doesn't make any sense. A wall should not be 1 unit big, it should at least be 16. This is a normal wall. We need to keep it a little bit real life. So I would suggest that you keep your map grid on 16 or 8 maybe, but 16 is good for now. So let's make this 16. Alright. Now I want to show you how we're going to rotate objects just using the normal grid tools. So I'm going to draw out a block in the middle, a block, and I'm going to change the texture for this, and I'm going to search for concrete, and I will just select some random concrete. I like this one. Build. Now when we click on the block, these squares will pop up. These squares are used to make larger, higher, bigger, whatever you want. But when we click one time on the object, now some circles will appear. These circles are used to rotate your object. So now we are able to rotate this any way we want. Let's say I want to have it like this. Now if we click on the object 2 times, some other squares will form, and these are used to change your block diagonally. As you can see, it will totally mess up your grid, or well, not actually your grid, but it's not on grid, so Hammer will have a lot more difficulties by compiling this block than just a normal block that's on the grid. So I would not suggest that you use this, but just to show you. Now we want to make I want to make a little block over here, then with some stairs and a counter-terrorist spawn, as we just made a terrorist spawn the last time. So I draw out a block over here, and I want my counter-terrorist to spawn on here. So I press on the entity tool, I press somewhere around my block, I click on the selection tool, and now I double click on my terrorist, and instead of having info player terrorist, now make it info player counter terrorist, and press apply. Now we have a counter terrorist spawn and a terrorist spawn, but now we will be only to play this with 1 counter terrorist and 1 terrorist. So click on the selection tool, select your counter-terrorist, press Ctrl C, and as where you move your mouse, this is where the pasting object is going to be. So now press Ctrl V, Ctrl V, Ctrl V, and as you can see, as I move my mouse, this is where the object will get pasted. Now we do the same for the terrorist, as obviously I want to have this to play by more than one terrorist. Okay, now we want to make some stairs. Click on the block tool and draw out a little block. I think 16 is the minimal for stairs heights to be, but I'm not sure, so we're just going to figure it out right now. So we have a stair over here, and I also want to have then the other side of the block, just to make it look cool. Oh, adjust this. Great. Make a smaller block, make a smaller block, make a smaller block. This is obviously not the best way to make stairs, but just to keep this easy, we are still doing it this way, because this is in fact the beginner series. So save your map and compile it. Load up Counter-Strike, create server, and we're going to test the terrorist spawn.
Okay, let's go.
And the stairs are working. I think if I walk too fast. Okay, stairs are working. Let's test the counter-terrorist spawn. And this is also working.
Okay, let's go.
So I hope I've helped you, and I will see you in the next Hammer tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe.